Rachel,
And I'm Amanda.
and this is episode 7 of Books and Bingos. This week, we're recommending books featuring Asian American and Pacific Islander representation for AAPI Heritage Month this May. So, I just have to throw something out there, Amanda. Less of a question, more of a statement. I think one of my, if not my absolute favorite children's author right now is Dan Santat. I think he is fantastic. He won me over with Beekle. I actually have the little stuffed animal Beekle on my bookshelves because I love it. Drawn Together was fantastic. I always liked reading that for AAPI month with my students, where we have a grandson and a grandfather who have trouble communicating with a language barrier, and they come together through drawing in their own style. Gave me chills, and then I absolutely cry almost every time I read After the Fall. It is one of the best picture books I've ever read in my whole life. And then he actually has a graphic novel that I'll be recommending in an upcoming episode. I think he's got a very distinctive style. I can always spot any covers that he draws very easily, and I just think he is amazing.
Yeah, Dan is so cool. And you're right. His art style is very, specific. And he just came out with The Misfits with Lisa Yee. And it is a novel, but it is illustrated throughout with his drawings. So yes, I got to meet and hang out with him last year at TLA and then at Library Palooza. He is so funny too. So it's if you've ever heard him talk or give a speech, he's definitely one that you will very much enjoy. Your kids will enjoy. Um, Great pick for that one. My favorite is probably going to be Kelly Yang. I feel like there's nothing she can't do. She has picture book, nonfiction. She has young adult titles, and then her middle grade series. She has two of them. Well, one's a duology, and the other is a series, the Front Desk series. And then she just had one release about social media and just the dangers that our students are falling into and that we are not helping them with enough as adults. And then she's actually working on an adult novel right now. And so
Oh,
I just cannot say enough great things about Kelly. She's one of my favorite authors and also happens to be Asian American. So,
yes. I have read Front Desk. It was really great. I recommend it all the time. But one thing I always noticed about her is she's very active on Instagram of using her platform to talk about struggles she's facing with like challenges or just anything she sees in the world that she thinks is a problem. Like she doesn't seem to hesitate to really stand up and speak out about it, which I really appreciate.
oh yeah, she is all about standing up also for book banning and the racism that she faced during the pandemic. So yeah, she uses her platform for all the good things.
Which we love to see.
Yes.
All right, Amanda, tell us about your first pick.
Okay, so this one actually is not out yet, but I want you to mark your calendar for October 22nd because On the Block Stories from Home, edited by Ellen O, is a phenomenal middle grade story anthology. This one really it features amazing authors such as Tracy Baptiste, David Bowles, Adriana Cuevas, Sayantani Dasgupta, Debbie Michiko, Florence, Adam Gidwitz, Aaron Entrada Kelly, Min Lee, Ellen O, Olabe Sola, Rude Perkovich, Andrea Yang, and Jasmine Warga. These are some of my favorite middle grade authors that are writing today. And the fact that they all were able to collaborate on a story featuring kids in an apartment complex, dealing with microaggressions, dealing with racism, dealing with culture issues, friendship, bullying. It's really the myriad of issues that our kids are going through. And it's not dark and depressing. It is uplifting. It is hopeful. Ellen O is one of the co-creators of We Need Diverse Books. So all of her stories and anytime she collaborates and does story collections like this, she includes a wide range of people from all different walks of life telling stories about kids. And so this one would fit in realistic fiction and middle grade.
That sounds really good. I'll have to look for that one.
Yes, I loved how the stories interconnect. I
Oh,
know
I love
sometimes
that.
when we have story collections, you'll get like one great one and then one. Rachel brought that up when she recommended Marple and the a few episodes back. So, but this one, all the stories interconnect, and they had to work together and Zoom and really talk about, well, I'm going to mention your character in this story, and your story is going to mention that one. So it feels very interconnected, which is great because the topic is about family and friendships. And so it's such a heartwarming book.
I think the kids don't necessarily gravitate to short story collections on their own, but when I like navigate them that way, they do tend to like them because I think they're it gives them that like satisfaction of like finishing things a little bit quicker. And it's a really unique experience to get so many stories all together, especially when they're all connected and on like a similar theme like this. So
You're
this will be
so
a
right.
great one.
It's my section that gets the least amount of attention. I have to like make displays and really book talk them to get them. But you're right. Once they open them, they're like, oh, I finished the story and I didn't like this one and I skipped that one. And so they have choices with these that I think most kids don't know about. So yes, I'm
Yes,
all about story collections. And
absolutely. Especially
what
when
is,
they're really good like this.
yes, what is your first pick today?
My first pick is All 13 by Christina Soontornvat. She's amazing. I feel like she's kind of blown up on the kid lit scene lately. But this is a middle grade nonfiction book. I actually came across this during Sybil's. I was on one of the panels, and this was one of the books that was recommended. It's probably not a book I would have picked up otherwise because it gives off very, this is going to be sad vibes. But I read it and I really enjoyed it. The title is All 13. There's a subtitle that I did not write down here, but it's about the Thai boys soccer team that got trapped in the cave after flooding. The tension is insane. It says in the title All 13, meaning they all survive. So, and you know that from the news because this is a real life true story. But the tension is insane. Like I was sitting on the edge of my seat the whole time, ready to know what happens next. And it was just so fascinating to hear all that went into trying to save that team. And I mean, it was just one of the best nonfiction books I've ever read. Probably one of the best middle grade nonfiction books I've ever read. But I will give a huge content warning for claustrophobia, feeling like you're buried alive, being trapped underground, needing a big search and rescue team. I mean, when they were showing the images of like the cave system, I mean, I felt a little panicky even through the book. So just be aware of that. The pictures themselves aren't too bad. This one that I'm talking about was an illustration just to show you what the cave system looked like. So I think you should be okay, but just know that going in. This would be great for nonfiction or for middle grade.
You actually recommended this one to me last year for 23 books to read in 2023. And I am not a nonfiction reader. I like it has to be like a celebrity memoir or something like that for me to get all excited
Yes.
about it. But this one was so good. And I feel like she did so much research. If you read the author's note about how she got involved in it, she is from that area. Her family traces back to Thailand. And so to be able to talk about something like that that happened, she was able to travel there. She spoke with people, interviewed. It was just, she's such a great writer. And for her to write such a compelling nonfiction book is
Yes.
it's hard to do, I feel like. She's
Yes.
also a Texas author. So we claim Christina, even though she is moving out of our state pretty soon.
I do want to throw in one other warning that I probably should have mentioned before. There is one death of a rescuer. So there is a death in the book, but it is not one of the children. It's one of the rescuers. And that's not a spoiler because this was all, like I said, on the news. But I just want to be totally clear in case any of that will affect you reading it. But it was fantastic. And like you said, very well researched. It's very narrative. It goes like a story. I mean, it
Yes.
sounds like Christina is just sitting down telling you the story.
Yes. She has Made in Asian American, a history for young people that she co-wrote with Erica Lee, coming out this week. So if you are looking for another amazing nonfiction recommendation, I read it as an arc and it was phenomenal as well. So
Check that one out.
yes, my second pick is Taste Like Shakkar by Nisha Sharma. Nisha is one of my favorite book talk authors to follow. She is very active on TikTok. She used to work in diversity, equity, and inclusion for a company. And so she talks a lot about that and including it in her writing. This one is an adult romance. And not only that, it has a lot of spice. So if you are under 18, I'm going to not recommend this one to you. This one has the trope of enemies to lovers. It centers around a wedding, and it is the best friends of the bride and the groom. Okay. It is book two in the If Shakespeare Was an Auntie series, but you can read it as a standalone. It does a good job of referencing what happened in book one, which is dating Dr. Dill. And that one was a Taming of the Shrew retelling. This one is a Much Ado About Nothing retelling. And then book three, Marriage and Masti, is a 12th Night retelling, and that one releases August 27th. So I was so excited to read this one finally. It had been forever since it has come out that I feel like I needed to read it. And now I'm ready for the third one because the ending of the second one really leads into the final couple that it's going to follow. I loved it because Nisha is plus size and the main character in this book is plus size. So it does talk about some things that center around fat phobia. But there is very little content warnings in this one. It would fit under realistic or series. And if we had a romance square, it would go there too. I'm going to make that my mission to add a romance square on our next bingo board.
Okay, we'll get one on the board. My next pick is one of my favorite genres now, which is cozy mysteries. I'm just kind of recommending, I guess, the whole series. It's Tita Rosie's Kitchen series by Mia P. Manansala. The first book in the series is called Arsenic and Adobo. These are all very heavily food inspired. There's recipes in the back, and it's all Filipino inspired food. And, I'm not super adventurous with my food choices, but everything she says in here sounds amazing. So just prepare to be hungry by the end of the book. In the first book, we're following our main character who's kind of coming back home because things are not working out the way she expected in her life, as most cozy mystery setups begin. But a food critic ends up dying while eating in their family restaurant, and they're blaming the main character. So she's the number one suspect. So she's got to do some digging and try to save herself. We are now up to book four being published. It's been out for a little bit, and book five will be coming in November. I highly recommend this. These are so much fun, but there is a trigger warning for death and murder and those such things that come up in a typical cozy, but nothing too horrible. And this would work for mystery, cozy mystery, or series.
Yeah, this is another one that Rachel had recommended. Because it's a cozy. And actually, it was a book of the month choice. And so it was getting a lot of attention when that first one came out. It's definitely a fun one. Cool thing about these cozies. Another one that I absolutely love is Jesse Sequanto's Four Aunties. I love that whole series too. So these are just they're like kind of slapstick and just like silly and funny. And yeah, they do center and this one centers around food. So just heads up on that one because I was hungry when I was reading it.
It all
So,
sounded amazing, didn't it? Yeah.
yes, I
And the
wanted to
cozy
eat
just give
all.
you a little of everything, like a little romance, a little
Yes,
suspense, but it's still kind of in a calm delivery. So I always appreciate that.
absolutely.
And those are our recommendations for the week. If you would like to share your recommendations or request a theme to be highlighted in a future show, reach out on social media at Books and Bingos or email us at booksandbingos@gmail.com. If you are a librarian or an educator and would like to be a guest host on a future episode, head over to tiny.cc/booksandbingos and fill out the guest host form. Thanks for listening and join us next week for a cruise theme. Happy reading!